Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Our press conference is focused on the actions the Maui Police Department is taking to uphold our standards and maintain the public's trust in light of the investigation involving Lieutenant Michael Vaituulala. Before we begin, I want to be clear, we cannot and will not discuss the current ongoing investigation, so please keep that in mind as we take questions at the end of today's conference. Joining us today are Chief John Pelletier and Deputy Chief Wade Mietta. At this time, I will turn it over to Deputy Chief.
Good afternoon. I'm Deputy Chief Wade Mietta, and I'm here to provide additional information as to the media-related inquiries regarding the arrest of Lieutenant Michael Vaituulala. First question, how did MPD not know, specifically the administration, that Lieutenant Vaituulala was involved in criminal activity? The answer, Lieutenant Michael Vaituulala was a member of the Criminal Intelligence Unit since November 16, 2021, and was made acting commander of the unit under a previous administration. Lieutenant Vaituulala was a trusted member, having been a task force officer for the Federal Bureau of Investigation up until October 2025. That means he was fully vetted by the FBI. Over the 2-year period of the allegations, there were no changes in behavior, no increase in expense purchases or flashing of money by Lieutenant Michael Vaituulala. The administration, as well as the rest of the MPD staff, were shocked with the allegations. Next question. Did anyone receive a target letter regarding the investigation involving Lieutenant Michael Vaituulala? Answer. As far as we know, what was reported to us, no MPD employee has been served a target letter in connection with this investigation. Next question. Are other individuals possibly involved in this investigation? The answer, that question should be directed to the FBI. We do not want to compromise the FBI's investigation, so we will default to them. Next question. After disbanding the members of the Criminal Intelligence Unit, where were they reassigned? Answer, the remaining members of the Criminal Intelligence Unit have been reassigned to non-investigative duties until they can be cleared by the FBI as having no criminal role in this investigation. Again, none of the members of the Criminal Intelligence Unit have been served a target letter in conjunction with this investigation. Next question. Prior to Lieutenant Vaituulala's arrest, were there any issues with previous conduct? The answer is no. A review of Lieutenant Vaituulala's personal folder by the Internal Affairs Captain revealed only the fireworks incident, which was handled internally. Lieutenant Vaituulala was charged with code of conduct, standard of conduct, and officers always subject to duty. He was issued a 1-day suspension without pay for the violations. Next question. How long was the Criminal Intelligence Unit assigned to the Offsite? Before I answer that question, I want to explain why they moved to that location. With the expansion of our crime lab to do testings for OUIs, our County Improvement Projects Manager was displaced. His office had to be displaced to make room for the crime lab. We also needed space for our building maintenance personnel, as well as space for 2 analysts. CIU is a trusted and valued member of our team. In addition, they do not do enforcement. I, as the Deputy Chief, made the decision to obtain an offsite to make room at the Akakū Police Station for other personnel. Now that the CIU personnel has been removed from their positions, we will decide on what units or divisions will now occupy that vacant space. And to answer directly, the Criminal Intelligence Unit has been assigned to the offsite since March of this year. Next question. The federal complaint includes at least one allegation of Lieutenant Michael Vaituulala supplying another MPD officer with illegal aerials. Has MPD's Internal Affairs Division opened an investigation into any other officers in connection with the work by Vaituulala or the allegations outlined by the FBI? The answer, MPD's Internal Affairs Division has opened up an administrative investigation that will run concurrently with the FBI's investigation to determine any violation of policy. If it is revealed that other officers were involved, they will be held administratively accountable by us. Question. Have any other officers come forward by the let me say that again. The question, has any other officers come forward to the Internal Affairs Division and or their superiors to allege additional conduct by Lieutenant Vaituulala or any other people he's worked with? The answer, per our Internal Affairs Commander, no officers or civilians at MPD have come forward with allegations involving Lieutenant Michael Vaituulala or others he has worked with. Question, was Lieutenant Vaituulala on duty when he was arrested? The answer, yes. Lieutenant Vaituulala was on duty and was assigned to the Criminal Intelligence Unit when he was arrested. Last question, how will MPD work to restore public trust in the department and the vast majority of officers who abide by MPD's policies and state and federal law? That answer I will have addressed by Chief John Pelletier. Chief, thank you.
Good afternoon. We at MPD take allegations of corruption and criminal acts extremely seriously. The arrest of an employee is deeply concerning. This agency will take a zero-tolerance, total accountability approach to this incident. We will conduct both an internal and external audit of what occurred, and we will implement every appropriate recommendation that results. The external review will be conducted by Chief Reed Mahuna of Hawaii County Police Department. Our goal is not simply to address this incident, but to use this as an opportunity to strengthen our policies, our practices, and the public trust. We are committed to moving forward and becoming a model agency in accountability, transparency, and integrity. The first pillar of 21st century policing is building trust and legitimacy. Policing is a contract between law enforcement and the community you serve. This department has and continues to operate and conduct itself at the highest level. The actions of an individual do not reflect the efforts of this department or the policing profession. Just this week, in the past 7 days, while this incident was ongoing, we had 2 homicides within our jurisdiction. Homicide number 1 for calendar year 2026 and homicide number 2 for calendar year 2026. Within days, in fact, within hours of these incidents, arrests were made, cases were closed, and the suspects were turned over to the prosecutor for justice. I'd also like to point out that just this week, there was a press release that went out, and this is not insignificant. A human trafficking enterprise was disrupted, and the immigrant community came forward and gave that information to the police department. Think about that. A community that we've been told for over a year that doesn't trust us, doesn't respect us, they came forward and they provided us information that when I tell you that this was slavery, it absolutely was. That is not insignificant. This week also marks the 1-year anniversary of the tragic death of Officer Suzanne O. She gave her life for this community. And although this incident was absolutely a knockdown, we at MPD, we are back up on our feet. We are moving forward. This agency and this profession will be relentless in the pursuit of excellence. Mahalo.
At this time, we'll take questions. Again, reminder, we will not be answering any questions related directly to the current investigation. Hawaii News Now.
This question is for Chief Pelletier. He was not only your IU commander, but you even said he was a close friend of yours, and some might even say one of your closest friends within the department. What knowledge or involvement did you have regarding these allegations?
So the question is based off of Chief's personal relationship with the lieutenant and what, if any, involvement he had in the current allegations. Or knowledge.
So first, let me say this. I had absolutely no knowledge of the allegations. It's almost offensive in that because we did not know. That being said, look, I had a good personal relationship, and I put it in my statement. Because if I said I didn't know the guy that well, there'd be somebody, oh, here's a picture of him, and they did that. So I mentioned that this individual, who was a high-ranking member of his church, helped with the scattering of my father's ashes. I mentioned that because that was true. And in the 5 years I've been here, almost, Lieutenant Vaituulala and I, or our families, whatever, in 5 years, whether it's a retirement or a birthday, scattering of ashes, maybe somewhere between 6 and 10 times off of work. So I can't get more than that as far as there's not like there was a bigger relationship than that. I'm telling you exactly the extent of that. So you tell me how much you think that is. Never went to a Super Bowl party, never associated at a bar outside of a work function like a retirement or a gathering like that. Disappointed, shocked, upset, all those actions that each and every one of you have. Remember this, the community is a victim in this, but also is the police department. The police department's a victim in this. And remember this too, law enforcement caught this individual. One of our partners that we work with is the FBI. We trust them. We work well with them. We reach out to them regularly. And one of our partners caught this. And nobody is more upset about a bad cop than good cops. And so we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we participate and help where appropriate, but we're going to move forward. And we've got a community to protect. And we've got to make sure that the bad goes away. And that's why I illustrated all that was done in the last 7 days. That is not insignificant.
Kay Chuen?
Yeah, if you believe that the allegations, if they are proven true, what kinds of changes would need to be happening within leadership to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again?
So the question is, if allegations are true, what type of changes the leadership should undergo?
Well, I think we're going to do a recommendation and a review and find out what there is there, but the change in leadership would occur at the CIU level. We'll absolutely make sure we have a different individual that oversees whatever that form of unit looks like moving forward. And depending on whether that's a lieutenant or a captain, whether it's a different unit altogether, whether they look into other investigations, whether it's political corruption, other things like that, we'll address it at that time, but that'll be in the review, but it won't be any other changes other than that. It'd be completely inappropriate.
Maui Now?
In the complaint, there are multiple individuals identified but redacted. Should there be more individuals identified from the department, how do you respond to that? How do you go forward from there?
So the question is, if in the FBI complaint, if other individuals within the department are identified, how do we move forward with that?
I'll answer that. Thank you for the question. So whenever other officers or civilians of MPD are identified as a target of investigation, we immediately remove them from their role and place them on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. So what we do is the criminal investigation will be conducted where the person is on paid leave for now, and then we concurrently run an administrative investigation to see what violations were there. But they will not be in the same role. They'll be taken off the street for investigative purposes.
Akakū? No? Hawaii News Now.
Since you folks said that Vaituulala has been placed on admin leave, I take it that's paid administrative leave. If and when would it be unpaid administrative leave?
So the question is, since he's currently on paid leave, when does it become unpaid leave?
So to keep consistent with our previous criminal investigations involving our officers, they will be on paid administrative leave until the outcome of the criminal case. So if we find that the person is convicted or something along those lines, they plea out, then subsequently, then Officer Vaituulala will be, he will be put before administrative review, and if he's found guilty of the violations, then and it warrants termination, then he'll be terminated without pay. Thank you.
Kay Choi.
I heard you say, I think you said that the chief from Hawaii County is going to be conducting the internal investigation. Why is that?
So the question, okay, so the clarifying question is if the chief of police from the Big Island is going to be the one to conduct the internal investigation. That's your question, correct?
Correct. I just wanted to make sure I understand.
No, we're going to conduct an internal review, and then they will do an external review on our investigation, and to look to see if there's anything that we missed. We don't want to simply say, hey, we got everything. We want to look at somebody that's well respected, that's tenured. Of the chiefs that are here, I know that Chief Reed Mahuna, they're all phenomenal, but I understand that he understands the significance of CIU. He understands the history of the department and some of the other challenges within that, and I felt he was the most appropriate. Reached out to him, and he said that him and his team would go ahead and review that after we put our review forward.
Maui Now.
I know you touched on it a bit when you spoke, but the morale of the department, public perception, and trust in the department, there's a lot of online chatter and differing voices and people accusing and speculation. How do you control something like that? I mean, we live in a different age where everybody has a comment, so.
So basically the question is, how do we deal with or control social media chatter?
You know, that, in all honesty, that's a really great question. When we talk about morale, we talk about different things. How do we control that? I can't control, won't try to control false narratives. Let's remember this month, 3 years ago, laser beams destroyed Lahaina 3 years ago, right? That's what we were told. Thousands of bodies washing up. That's what we were told. We blocked the roads. That's what we were told. 3 years ago, it was actually a shootout between the National Guard and the Maui Police Department. I'm a time traveler. I heard that one. I'm not making this up. We don't have time to deal in fantasy. We deal in facts. That's all we can do is deal in facts. We're going to take this as it comes. We're going to deal with it one piece at a time. We're going to do everything we can to help with our partners and to move forward. We have an amazing department with incredible people. The men and women of the Maui Police Department deserve to have the ability to do their jobs and be protected. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're extremely transparent. We did this press conference after we did 2 statements. One was a generic statement that we didn't attribute any names on, but please know the 3 of us absolutely put that statement together. I made a more personal statement to try to explain what I was feeling and where we're at coming from, but there was all these other questions that came in. And we wanted to do everything we could to be transparent, to be in front of the situation where we can. It's not that we come in here and we do a press conference just because it's something good to say or we've got an arrest or something like that. We come in front of very challenging times. We've done many press conferences, whether it was the list of 3,000 people, whether it was announcing death tolls, whether it was officer-involved shootings, whether it was the death of our own officer. We've also done statements when we've had arrests of other individuals. So we don't have a problem coming in. We have to respect the process. You've heard me say that so many times. And you've also heard me say this. You want it fast or you want it right? We're gonna take our time and we're gonna get it right. And we're gonna do everything we can to make sure that this department is the best it possibly can as far as policing. And again, we got knocked down, but we are back on our feet and we are moving forward. And we're gonna make this the safest community possible. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you very much.